we're going to get through.
I love in your I guess essay, but part of the book, the future is a place. You say that process of evolution of testing out lots of different possibilities, basically experimentation, is technically conservative because it conserves life. It's allowing us to or life to exist across time. At least that's what I picked up from it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's important to kind of differentiate the way that people have run with the term conservative, to mean sort of history blind at this point. When people talk about traditional marriage and they're looking at like 150 years ago in one society. And it's like, that's, like if you're going to, come on, like if you're really going to talk about traditional marriages, you got to talk about, honor killings and like, the stuff, like the stuff that was in the Bible. And like, do we really want to keep that? But on the other hand, like, there is this sense of like the conservation of momentum, the way that structure is conserved. And I think that that's really what I was, getting at, which is that it's endless, that really when we're talking about something as broad and transcendent as the evolutionary process, then certain dualisms really just fail us. Like with the work of Lynn Margulis, when she's talking about symbiosis as a driving factor in major evolutionary transitions, in which the new level of individuality is some sort of meta organism made through a collaboration, an intimate collaboration of the previous level of individuality. It's various, like what we're going through really right now as a species is, like brains linked by computers and this kind of thing. And where, what made us a species in the first place, the way that each of us is sort of nothing without other people. I mean, that's very bizarre in one sense, but also very characteristic of a winning strategy, evolutionarily speaking. That teams win over the loner, and for many reasons. And so, like when you're weighing that kind of transcendent, multi-perspectival object, then it doesn't make sense to talk about evolution as characterized only by collaboration or only by competition. And this is like another area where we just get hung up trying to oversimplify the story. And so again, like it doesn't make sense to talk about evolution as merely creative or merely conservative, because all of the creativity is based on the appropriation and repurposing of existing traits, perhaps in a new environment, but it's an enormous 4 billion year remix project that's just constantly building on its, remixing its prior remixes. And, so that's, yeah, I mean, that's the point, is that if we really want to talk about this with sort of sufficient depth and dimensionality, that dimensionality is more than two. It's more than subject and object. And one of my favorite authors, Richard Doyle at Penn State University, who wrote Darwin's Pharmacy, Sex Plants, and the Evolution of the Noosphere, starts that book by saying that he thinks that psychedelics are what he calls ecodelics, because he's very sensitive to the way that we talk about these things and the sort of the way that the words that we use shape the algorithm of the experiences that these substances engender. He says that he believes that ecodelics are kind of training wheels for transhumanism, because by drawing us out of subject-object duality and into this sort of this n-dimensional hyperspace of transformed subjectivity, that they are preparing us to perceive and to navigate the world with the level of nuance and sophistication that will be required of us in this century. And so I love that, and I think that that's very accurate. So yeah, so what is conserved when you go through a radical shift? Something
Hmm.
is conserved if you want to talk about it in that way. Um, but maybe that's not where the focus necessarily should be anymore, you know?
Yeah.